This is Colin, GM for JPZ. I've noticed recently that several people have been asking for a manual for the DXHeat cluster site, and I thought I would just make this video to help beginners understand how to use it properly. I hope it helps. Please don't think that I'm setting myself up as some kind of expert. I'm not. I'm just a simple everyday user of the site, but I think I do understand enough of it to be able to help people use it if they are complete beginners or not used to using clusters like this. I am not in any way connected to the person who set this DX cluster up, Tobias, DH1TW, nor do I have his permission to make this video. I don't think that is necessary. Please forgive me if I add too much information that you already know. The idea is to help people who are completely new to the hobby who are interested in using the cluster. First of all, what is a DX cluster? Well, DX, of course, used to be the abbreviation for distance, and it's used in amateur radio, ham radio, nowadays, to signify a long-distance contact or a particularly interesting station that may have some other kind of rarity value. It may be a special event station, referred to as an SES station, or it may be operating from a country that does not have many operators, for example, Gibraltar, ZB2, or Monaco, 3A, which also makes it legitimate to appear in a DX cluster. We use the clusters to see which DX stations are on the air at any given moment that people have posted, or we also say spotted, on the site. You will also see people posting call signs which have no apparent particular value, or even their own call sign, which, by the way, is considered by many to be poor practice. Let's start in the top right of your screen with the username and profile. It's useful for you if you do sign in with your name. You can sign in either directly to the site or using your Facebook or your Google account. It makes no difference at all. It is just a means of signing into the site. What is important is that under the user-specific information on your profile that you enter, your your DXCC country, and the locator, which will then give your latitude and longitude and your time zone. This information is important when you're using the cluster later on, as it will help give the correct beam heading for any particular DX station that has been posted on the cluster. After you've set your username and added the profile information, you can return to the DX cluster itself by tapping the DX cluster box next to your name. So, for example, here we have my name. I've already logged in. My profile, which gives all the information that I just spoke about. Down here, we can just go to DX cluster. Let's now look at the left-hand side of the screen where you'll see filters. These are used to specify the information that is important to you, and you leave a box green if that applies. If you leave all green, that is here, or actually it's blue in this particular case, then all of the available filters will be selected. If you choose none, then none of these filters will be selected. In the latter case, you will receive a warning that you have to choose at least one band or one continent, etc. So I've no idea why none has been added there. Now we'll go through the filters, starting at the top and working our way down the column. First one says sources, and these are the sources of the information which is posted, put up on the cluster. Now, W3LPL is a well-known American station with an amazing antenna farm in Maryland. He uses, I believe, automatic reporting from various receivers using a variety of antennas, and this will give you information on what this particular site in Maryland, United States, is able to hear. I personally do not choose this because it's far too much information and is not really relevant if your location is nowhere near Maryland. Now we're moving down to the next choice, which is DXCC. which refers to the countries or entities important for the ARRL DX Century Club Award, the premier award available in ham radio. This award lists all the countries or entities that are available worldwide, including extremely rare ones that are much sought after by hams all over the world. And this label asks for valid DXCC countries or other. To be honest, I have no idea what other would be, so I always just choose valid DXCC countries. When it comes to modes, CW, if you're a complete beginner, might mean nothing to you. It refers to continuous wave, historically, and is the usual way in amateur radio of referring to Morse code. Phone is the old-fashioned way of referring to voice communications, and it can refer to SSB, AM, or FM communications. So if you choose CW only, then all of the posts that you will see, theoretically anyway, will be in the CW portion of the band, and that's all the information that will be posted on the site for you. You can choose phone, and similarly, all of the posts will refer to SSB, AM, or FM stations. Digi stands for digital communications and may refer to RTTY, radio teletype, or any one of the other digital modes, of which there are, I think in the meantime, probably dozens. FT8 is a digital mode which is particularly popular at the moment. If you're not interested in digital communications, then tap this to leave it clear. So for example, here, if you wanted it, you would make it green. If not, you tap it and it's clear. So theoretically, as I say, you won't get any posts which refer to digital communications. The modes filters are not 100% sure to work, but give a broad brush way of selecting what you want to see. Next, we come to the bands, which allows you to choose whichever frequency range you're interested in. If you're interested in SHF, that is 3 to 30 gigahertz, leave it green. If not, leave it clear. Same with UHF, 300 megahertz to 3 gigahertz. VHF, 30 to 300 megahertz, followed by the individual amateur radio frequency bands from 4 meters down to 160. And as I don't have any 4-meter capability, I just leave the rest of them there. Once you get down to the bottom of the list of bands, you'll see LF, which is referring to the low frequency and medium frequency communication bands of 135.7 to 137.8 kilohertz and 472 to 479 kilohertz, respectively. When you hover over the individual bands, you will see the choice of only, all, or none. If you want to see only posts for one frequency band, then leave that on green. All will choose all of the available spectrum, and none would show you nothing, so it's a waste of time putting it there. Then you will come to DX. And the DX choice here refers to the continents that you are interested in seeing posts for. The station's call signs are shown in the middle column under DX. This is up here. Under DX. Right. So if you're only interested in stations in, for example, Europe, then you would just choose EU, or NA for North America, SA for South America, AS for Asia, AF for Africa, OC for Oceania, that is Australia, New Zealand, etc., or AN for Antarctica. If you're interested in posts referring to all of the different continents, the whole world, in other words, then you can leave them all green. I'm really as far as DX is concerned, I am interested in posts concerning anywhere in the world, so I leave them all green. Now we come to DE, which means from, referring to the continent of the person who is making the post. DE, meaning from, is an abbreviation which has been taken from Morse code in radio communications use. So if you're located in North America, you will probably only be interested in posts from people in North America. I am located in Europe, and I'm only really interested in posts from people in Europe because I assume that they will be experiencing roughly the same kind of propagation as I am. There's no point in choosing North America in my case because their propagation is completely different from mine, and they are also in a totally different time zone. Now, having said that, there are lots of posts from EU, especially from Italian and say Spanish stations further south than me, who are getting propagation, and I'm getting nothing. But still, I just leave it on EU. So let's go back up to the top of the page again and have a look at the columns there. On the left, we have DXDE, which means DX from, and refers to the call sign of the person who has submitted the information on the DX station of interest. The next column is freq, which is obviously frequency, and it's the frequency of the DX station being referred to. When you are inputting the frequency and a submitted DX spot, later we'll look at it, do not add a full stop or comma in the frequency information. For example, if you're going to put in 24.496 megahertz, then just type 24916. The site will add a space between the 24 and 496 and a comma before the next number, usually a 0, because the person who runs the site is German and they use commas where English speakers use a full stop. If you click on the station's call sign making the post, you can choose either to see a statistic on posts from that person or a link to their homepage on qrz.com. Just turning the sound off on my phone here, which I should have done earlier actually. Right. To the right of the frequency column, we see you will find the DX stations. It says DX, and you'll see the DX station being referred to. As I said above, the national flag of the DX station being referred to is shown in the next to the frequency column, and clicking on the flag will give you full relevant amateur radio information on the country concerned, plus the beam heading for your location. For example, if we click on that, you'll see that the beam heading would be 283 degrees from my QTH. It gives you the information. It's North America, gives you the Maidenhead locator, which may or may not be interesting to you, the CQ zone, the ITU zone, and the distance from your QTH as you've put the information in. Under the DX column, and I think I've probably confused things a little bit here, you will find the DX station's call sign, which is being referred to. As said above, it may be a long distance from the continent the spotter was posting from, or it may be particularly interesting call for other reasons. Nowadays, people frequently post the call sign of the person they have just worked, whether it is DX or not. If you click on the DX station's call sign, you will have the choice of a headphone icon, which will take you to an SDR, that is a software-defined radio, belonging to the University of Twente in the Netherlands. So, for example, here, and if you click on the headphones, it opens up the SDR, and you can then listen to the station. If you click on Start Audio, it will allow you to listen to the station as it is being heard or not in the Netherlands. A statistic icon, let's have a look here, will show you the statistics on the station being referred to, or a link to their page on qrz.com. So there's the statistics. You can see graphs and how many times they've been mentioned, etc. Then we want to go back here, and for example here if you look at qrz.com, it will automatically in another tab open up qrz.com and will give you the page of the station being talked about. So the next comment is comments. Sorry, the next column is comments. Here you can leave a comment such as the information on what makes them interesting to the person posting, the name, this is the station being referred to, or how loud they are, or what kind of station it is, IOTA, POTA, BOTA, SOTA, etc. That is islands on the air, parks on the air, bunkers on the air, summits on the air, etc. You may also see the expression QSX plus a frequency, which refers to the split frequency that the DX station may be using. This is usually a few kilohertz higher than the DX station's own frequency, so people are not piling up their signals all on the DX station's frequency. You may also see the comment up 1, etc., or up 2, which means the DX station is listing 1 kilohertz higher than the frequency is listing on, etc. For an SSB signal, the comment may be up 10 to 15, which means the DX station is listening 10 to 15 kilohertz higher than his transmitting frequency. Now we can move to the columns on the right, starting with the real-time world clock. This gives the time in UTC or GMT as it used to be known as. Underneath, the date is given with the number and a full stop after it because this is how you write the date in German. I sent Tobias feedback to say we don't do it that way in English, but he wasn't interested. Your local time will be displayed beneath it if you have signed in and entered your exact location. Remember that UTC time may refer to the day after where you are if you are in North or South America, or the day before your day if you live east of the prime meridian. So as you can see, this is showing British summertime, and this is UTC, sorry, and my local time is British summertime. Beneath the time information, you have search, which allows you to search for posts on a specific station or a call sign you are not completely sure of by using wildcard characters, question mark for single characters, and asterisk for several. Underneath that is submit. Here you can submit the call sign of a station you think will interest other users. Remember to input the frequency in kilohertz for an example is given. You can leave a comment here if you wish, which will appear in the column next to the DX station's call sign. So here we have the submit DX spot dialog box. Your call sign will appear here. The DX station, you put in here the frequency in kilohertz, as I say, and then the comment if you are interested in leaving a comment. Underneath again, you come to propagation. And on the left, solar activity is shown, referring to the solar flux index, or SFI. This is color-coded from red to green, and most important for you is that the number be as high as possible, which would indicate the chance of good conditions. On the right, you want the magnetic activity to be low, ideally, and this is color-coded the other way around in the SFI, as you want the K-index to be low. It should be noted that this is far from an exact science and can only give you a rough indication of the likely band conditions. Beneath this, we come to band activity, which is based on the continent you have chosen for your location. In my case, Europe. As you can see, that may be any one of the other continents. This chart shows you how many posts there have been from your continent referring to the various amateur bands and continents. This is color-coded and shown in the line below the chart, down here, going from white for 0 up to red for 20 or more posts. And a quick glance at this, that is 20 or more posts in the last hour. A quick glance at this will show you where most of the activity is according to posts from people on your continent and referring to the other continents. For example, if you are located in Europe, a red dot next to 10, and here you have it here, under North America, would mean that there have been more than 20 posts from Europe referring to stations in North America on 10 meters in the last hour. Again, this is only a rough indicator of conditions and activity, but gives you a rough idea at a quick glance. All that is left really is the chat facility, which is used for general information, general information of a personal or general nature, and usually does not actually generate an actual chat sequence. But it's interesting to have a look at it. And down here you can see how many stations. I have selected 65 stations from the top to the bottom, but you can choose for 100, and it will then give you the last 100 posts, which I personally find a bit too much. But sometimes you want to look back and have a look at something that was posted maybe half an hour ago or an hour ago, and it's useful to be able to do that. So there we go. That's a quick look at the DXHeat cluster. I hope it's been of some help, maybe to you if you're a beginner. Please leave a comment in the comments below. I'm doing my best, so please don't leave negative comments. I've just done this to help people who are beginning. And as I say, sorry if some of the information is obvious to you, but it is intended for beginners. This was Colin, GM4JPZ, Golf Mike 4, Juliet Papa Zulu, off and clear.